her daddy Mac. Dan's 30 years got our way, trading life and markets every day. Rusty's chained to the mines, digging deep day by day. But when Option Omega releases new features, he's free to come out and play. Option Omega, you're trading home, where every move makes you feel less alone.
I love it.
USA.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Dan, how the heck are you?
All right. This isn't as bad as your I hate soccer. Even though I wish when you said that you got to get like one of these AI songs about I hate soccer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You definitely created a ruckus in the chat box on
If
that.
now listen, if USA ever won the World Cup, I would get a USA soccer jersey for sure. I mean, Dan, I could care less about hockey.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what I love. I love America beating Canada.
That was but you know what? I tell you, it's a different feel, right? I mean, when you look at hockey, it's almost like a fraternity of these guys are, in terms of the different sports people, not that they don't have egos, but it's a humble, they don't put it in, and these guys, there can't be tougher athletes than these guys. I mean, the guy Jack Usen, he misses 2 teeth during the game. But I mean, it's not like he's yelling at the guy for knocking his teeth out, or they're a different breed, aren't they? And I mean, even when you watch the Canada, which I thought was very gracious at the end of the game, the post-conference with Sidney Crosby and the coach, they're not blaming, but it's just such a different feel. NBA players are more branding, in your face, how great I am.
Yeah.
Boy, hockey's the opposite. Humble, you know what I mean? It's a different.
Well, they're literally getting their teeth knocked out. I mean, they are getting teeth destroyed, cut in half during games, and happy about it.
And they're a tough group of folk, and it was good to see. I mean, you're glad. For me, I like the underdog, and even USA. I didn't realize they haven't won the gold since '80. I mean, that's a few years, right? I mean, that's a few years, and
I mean 40, 45 if I'm doing my 46 if I'm doing my.
But here's what I don't understand, Troy. Why can't in those 46 years, U.S. has worked at it and got better at hockey? Clearly, right? It wasn't like it was total luck what happened yesterday. Whereas you mentioned if the World Cup, U.S. 25, 30 years ago was supposed to, all these kids will start playing, they'll get better. They're still waiting.
Yeah.
Right? And so it hasn't that passion where I think enough U.S. kids have grabbed on the passion of hockey, right? But you don't get that in soccer as much.
No, I think this is it. And I'm about to go on a little bit of a bender here.
I love it. I love
for
a
America.
bender. It's all right.
But this is my theory about it. And again, I'm about to make a lot of people mad, but that's okay. Matt would be texting me right now and say, hey, remember our European friends. Matt's not here this morning. And so, but here's my thing. America is a tough place. It's a wild place. We've got guns. We got a lot of guns. We got a lot of mental illness going on in America.
A lot of mental illness, a lot of guns.
Yeah, a lot of stuff, but we're tough. Yeah. it's a tough place. It's a Wild West, and hockey is a tough sport, and it's a very aggressive sport. And I think for that reason, we don't have a lot of hockey. I mean, in the South, we don't have a lot of hockey guys. In the North, it's a different animal. And Dan, I'm sure in Chicago, there's many more hockey players than the South.
Yeah.
But like, it's a tough sport, and so I think tough sports, we have a tendency to get gold medals in tough sports. And I'm not saying soccer's not a tough sport. I'm just saying it doesn't surprise me that we haven't like gone all out. I mean, my favorite thing, Dan, is we invented basketball, and therefore we're the best of basketball. But bonus points if another country can invent a sport and we just take that sport as well. That's actually the ones I like the most.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I love the fact that we took Canada's sport and made it our own. And, come at me.
When you say, though, Troy, that, it's how I look at the whole hockey thing. I grew up in Chicago, so it's cold enough. You can make some outdoor rinks, right, where the kids can play in the passion develop. But when you look at the entire United States and you look at, okay, where do the hockey kids come from? It's Michigan, maybe Chicago, Minnesota, North Dakota. So it's like America's Canada. The cold weather ones are where the kids come from because it's more similar to Canada, right? It's cold and they're playing, there's the passion develops, right? And you get in warmer areas, you're not going to get as much, my opinion, which doesn't mean much.
No, I think it's accurate.
It doesn't mean, but when you're in the South, it's like when our kids grew up playing soccer, right? They're not just playing all the time. If you're in Wisconsin or Michigan or North Dakota, I would imagine it's similar to Canada. The passion develops young. They don't have to pay to get rink time as much. They're doing that, but they're just, what? They froze the backyard. You're cold enough. Minnesota, it's cold enough a good part of the year. You can play 8 hours a day and develop that passion. So I think they're pretty similar. Wouldn't you say? You get your Dakotas, your Minnesota, Michigan. The goalie yesterday, the star goalie, was from Michigan. Michigan gets pretty stinking cold.
And to the point, Detroit is in the last couple of decades been a rough spot. If you grew up in Detroit, you grew up with some aggressiveness. Dakotas, you're building your house out of snow. I mean, it's basically like an igloo. Minneapolis pops off a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I knew Steven, I'm sorry for your loss. I appreciate what you're saying. Steven says basketball was invented by a Canadian. He used a soccer ball for it.
Wow.
Now, I have a soft spot in my heart for Steven because he's a baller. But he's not like an NBA baller. Like, most of those NBA ballers are Americans. So, listen, I'm going to go hard in the paint today. It is what it is. Understand that I really don't care about hockey, and I know that you guys do, who are passionate about it. So I don't want to take anything away from your loss.
Yeah.
But I do. Obviously.
I don't want to take anything away from your loss.
I want to add to your loss.
I want to add to your loss.
As much as I can. So that's the thing is I was talking to some friends from church. Like, nobody in the South cares about hockey. I've literally been on a skating rink one time in my life. I mean, there's only 2 spots I know in a 50-mile radius of here that has a skating rink, ice skating.
Yeah.
But to the point, Minneapolis is a tough place. Like these things, it's ice football. I mean, it's very physical. They knock each other's teeth out. There's a certain toughness to that, and in the South, it's football. And so, but listen, I'm not going to sit here the whole show and just talk about how great American sports are.
Sure you are.
I'm going to talk for 5 more minutes about how great American sports are. But the thing I love about Olympics, and guys, listen, I know that we got listeners all over the world. I really am. This is a sociological thing. I want to talk a little bit about, like, in America, and Dan, you correct me if I'm wrong, this is my sense of Americans. I can really only speak to men. in this situation. Okay, American men, even like the Winter Olympics, which on any given day we might make fun of most of those sports. You know,
Sure.
like as soon as we win a gold in it, we're like the best to ever do it.
The best
We're
sport.
the best ever. We're the best to ever do the best sport ever.
Oh yeah.
People in other countries, is that how you guys are? Or do you guys just claim victory in whatever sport you can and be like it's the greatest sport of all time when you win a gold? Because I know in America that's how we feel.
That's right. That's right.
So I'll let the chat.
Troy, who won? I want to know who won hurling. What country won our famous shuffleboard, the American version of shuffleboard? Who won?
Poor Canada. Listen, I think Canada won gold in curling.
Okay.
But here's the thing. It's not without controversy because people said they cheated. So Canada had a rough go this Olympics. I'm going to be honest. I mean, they had a rough go of it. So I've always considered Canadians friends and things like that. But it's fun. It's fun to beat your friend. As someone who loves beating his friends, it's fun to beat your friends too.
Well, and you look at, I'll tell you one thing, when you think about the hockey game yesterday, just for a little bit of, I don't understand a lot about hockey, but what I do understand is, I mean, even in Canada was saying, and they're right, they played very well. When you look at like shots on goal, if I get this correct, I think they had like 42, 43 shots on the U.S. goalie, which is just, you can't ask more from the kid. I don't think we had a fraction of shots on goal. And even the Canadian coach says, you know what? If you told me we're going to have 40 some shots on goal, what can you ask more? I mean, and with the stars that they have, it just, for that day, I mean, you have a rough day, right? In a 7 series, that's a different thing. But in a one,
if I was Lockheed Martin, if I was Halliburton, I would be looking at this whole thing as you're trying to think through how to build an iron dome, a golden dome, as Trump said. Just put our goalie up there. Just put our goalie in Greenland and say, "Have at it, boy." Have at it. Because that guy was stopping some missiles.
Oh my goodness! And I mean, these aren't, these are the best forwards or whatever in the world for Canada, and he just had one of those games, and it just, I mean,
locked in.
What are you going to do?
Locked in. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Listen, there's always, in 4 years from now, there'll be a lot more hockey over the next 4 years. It was one of those moments where, where were you when America, took hockey as their sport? And it was yesterday, and I was at church. But anyway,
one last thing on the hockey. I wish they, when we were kids, you grow up playing hockey outside, and I'm sure in Canada there's a lot of that, and that's where I think the kids develop the fun and the passion of it. I like, occasionally you'll see in the NHL we'll play some outdoor games, and the once in a while they'll play one in Soldier Field in Chicago. I think that's the coolest thing, an outdoor hockey game.
For sure.
Fans go. I wish they did more of that. I would be great at. I mean, it'd be tough at the Olympics, especially in Italy, or whatever. But I think it's. I'm just more impressed. Like I was reading in the Olympic Village, how lucky were those players who lived in the Olympic Village to get all the pasta they can eat? You're having pasta and pizza in Italy. What better? Come on, carbo.
Those Olympic villages are known for more than the food too. I mean, that's the problem. Yeah, you get a bunch of athletes. But Dan, I mean, listen, it was a great Winter Olympics. I would not have said that at all if we didn't win gold. And we won gold, though. Here's the thing, too, and I want to say this. I know this sounds. I want you to understand, chat, that I'm taking on a very stereotypical American, the fun thing about Olympic hockey is that the team is made of players who a week before were arch rivals. That's exactly right. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm a weirdo, and I will say this, and people make fun of me. I love Olympic basketball. I love Team USA basketball. It's my favorite sport is Team USA basketball. And part of it is watching people who in previous years at least, really hated each other come together, and I was a child of the 92 Dream Team. I was 10. So like it was perfect time for me. And watching like Charles Barkley and Jordan team up, watching Larry Bird and Magic Johnson team up was really special, and I love that camaraderie. I love that thing of like going for something bigger than yourselves in that sense. And so I'm taking on the role of a stereotypical American in this. And I hope that you understand that we love every country. Every country of the world deserves, I think, what the Canadians got for second place, like a teddy bear. I saw them getting handed a teddy bear. So I would like to.
Bear? I didn't know what that was.
Some sort of stuffed animal. I would like to hand everybody in the world a stuffed animal and say, good job. So anyway, but America's not done, because this weekend we also decided, Dan, to put a 15% tariff on planet Earth. I think Trump came out and said, hey, 15%. I think the quote was a 15% tariff on planet Earth. And so I don't know how that works, but
I don't even. It's like the little bit that I was reading. I'm not sure if I understand it correctly. It's like he had the other tariff. The Supreme Court ruled, okay, you can't do that one. So he goes back to the drawing board, and they find this other ruling that says you've got to, you can't pick and choose, which he was pretty good at. You got to do everybody. And I don't think he wanted to do. So this one is a do everybody. I think it's for a certain amount of days, but 15%. But it's, he's a scrapper, right? He's a scrapper, and he's trying to find different ways to try to do what he's. I
love the idea of like a tariff on planet Earth, and then just like the giraffes in Africa being like, "What did we do? Like, what do I do to get involved?"
Why is he picking on us?
Yeah. Well, Dan, we've been talking a little bit about the market, and it's a Monday. I've got some commemorative hockey sticks to buy and things like that, so I'm gonna have to get rolling here in a minute. But I want to talk real quick about a concept we talked about Thursday and Friday, and show a little test off. So we were talking about kind of how range bound it's been the last couple of days. As we're going to wake ourselves up this morning in the same range that we've been in largely since November, which is pretty impressive. And I wanted to share a test real quick, just the idea of, I was trying to tell people the other day that like, you don't have to just do 0 day. It's a shock to people. But but even if you do 0 day, maybe there's stuff we could look at tomorrow, Dan, with some 0 day ideas. But today I wanted to show this test off, okay? And I'll put it here. And that's the American flag. Sorry about that. That's my fault. Yeah, let me get that switched over real quick. Okay. So this is a range-bound butterfly. And let me go ahead and share this real quick for the chat. Put it in there. I'll put it in the Discord. There we go. So Dan, a couple things you'll notice about this. First off, this is literally one of the defaults in option omega. Like if you put butterfly in our strategies drop down, this is what you get.
Yeah.
And it's ran since November 24th. So it's a 90-day window. And it's 15 days. And here's what you're doing. You're buying a 63 delta, 15 days out call. You're selling 2 at the money calls, 250 deltas, and you're buying a 35. Now this is something that I think Dan has done before. I think I learned this from Dan. And I think when we put this in the drop down, this was just kind of a basic structure that Dan had taught for years, and I like it. We have literally nothing else on here, Dan. It's just opening and closing fees,
Yeah.
It's done well. It's done well.
Yeah. Trey, if you hit trade log, is this like 15 wide, or what's a typical?
It's a good question. This is about, let's see here, 25, about 100 to 95 wide.
Okay, 100 to 90. So like on that first one, for a second, the first one from the in the money call to the at the money. Oh, it's about 100 each side.
Yeah, about 100 each side.
So that's 100 wide. Okay, 100 wide. So that's about $16.
Yeah, go into some of the winners just to verify that. I mean, because it's going to change depending on the delta, obviously. This one's a lot shorter. This one's a lot smaller. So this is 69.75, and then the long is 69.15. So, what, 50 points?
60 points or so?
60, yeah, 60. Can't do math.
Okay, so depending, okay.
Yeah, and then this is a little bit, so it's broken wing the way we have this set up. They're not equal distant wings.
Yeah.
But if you kind of model this out this morning, the idea of saying 69.20 call. Now this is Friday's deltas, but 69.20 call, 68.55. So about 65, and then 70 on the up bound. So a couple things, Dan. Would you basically, Stephen? Yeah, basically a 10 wide on spot. So Dan, do you like that idea that it could be broken wing, or do you think we should keep this and just test it with equal distant wings?
No, I like testing both. I mean, balanced butterflies will be cheaper than broken wing flies, right? In nature, and narrower butterflies will be cheaper than wider flies. But I think it hits home, Troy. What you're saying is that, in the last, whatever, for sure this year, but probably the last 3 months or whatever, we've been in this range. And when you're in some type of range, some of these at the money butterflies can be beneficial, and it's worth looking at, right? I mean, people are conventionally okay for the zero. I mean, this isn't 0 day, but even range bound trades, a lot of the time in a year, there is some type of range. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, it's not like it doesn't happen. And it happens more than you would think. And I think having some of these butterfly, now this was a set it and forget it, right? I mean, you're literally.
Yeah, I didn't even do anything. I was just showing it.
No.
Sure.
I think that's the amazing thing. You haven't put any rails on this. You haven't put any, put it on a day the vowel's up or down. And I think it just shows that, just that it has a pretty decent performance, I would say, for a set it and forget it. Because I wouldn't normally, doing a 15 wide butterfly, I normally wouldn't, hold it to expiration. But if it tests, that's what's great with the testing. You can kind of see if it. Normally I might hold it 30% of the duration. So if this is 15 day, I might hold it 4 or 5 days and see if you can get 20% or whatever. But that's the great thing with the testing. You could kind of go through different ideas. I like it. I like these a little more range bound, right? And
well, again, I think a couple comments, Christopher, the $172 option on the last trade. Not sure entry slippage of 10 cents makes the whole thing make sense. I will say this: I understand what you're saying. I do these a lot, and 10 to 15 cents is about it. 15 days out. So, you have to do your own research and things like that. But I can at least personally, anecdotally, on this one, say that it's pretty accurate, that slippage on that. So now, if you're going like 60 days out, for sure, 10 cents ain't going to cut it. But 15 days out is pretty liquid. The last
thing, Troy. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
No, what I was going to say again, I think in terms of execution, when you're looking at slippage and stuff, I think an iron butterfly will have less slippage than a butterfly, because you're not dealing with in the money options in an iron butterfly. Yes, you have one more leg to it, but you're selling at the money option, so the bid ask is going to be tighter, and you're buying out of the money option, so it'll be tighter. So these, you're going to have a little wider the bid ask and in the money options, and so that's why you might get a little, I would guess, and you could test it in the back testing, but I would guess that the slippage in an iron butterfly would be less than a.
The other thing, and this is worth talking about, Dan, a little bit. For people who have only come into the game trading 0 day, Dan taught me this 10 years ago, and it's been super helpful to me. This is the type of trade, like, with 0 day, you have to be aggressive on getting filled because the price is moving so much, and gamma and the 0 day and things like that. And it's liquid, so you don't usually have to worry. You don't have to chase too much, but you do have to be aggressive to get filled. You can sit on this thing for 10 minutes. Like it's a 15-day butterfly, so you don't have to go chase the spread to get filled. You can let this baby sit for a minute at a time, 2 minutes, 3, 4, 5 minutes at a time. And I would encourage people to do that if you want to forward test this or test something like this. That I think Dan says just work it slowly. Like just put it in there, raise the price, wait a minute, and see what it is. You don't have to chase this type of trade.
Yeah, and always, like, as far as execution, as you get a little further out, especially again as you're dealing with in the money options, you'll know. You look at the bid ask on the spread and it's moving around. Like Troy said, if it's a debit transaction, first of all, only do one at a time to establish what's a fair value, but start the debit low and work up, because that's the nice thing. The market makers don't care. I mean, they have it set in the parameters where it'll trigger to do business with you. And I think if you just start it low, 50, then you get it. Once you get the established, okay, here's where market value is generally to buy the car, then you could do your 5 contracts or 6 or whatever you want to do. But yeah, you don't want the worst feeling to me in trading is you put an order and to do 10 contracts and they fill you instantaneously. And you're like, did I give up on 8?
Oh, no. Oh, I know.
How much did I give up to these guys?
For sure.
No.
Yeah. That's how I feel like with profit targets. Like I'll set a profit target overnight on ES.
Oh, yeah.
Then it instant fills at like 9:32. And I'm like, oh, what did I do? So I think the other thing I'd say, Vilio, the last 6 loss, this is not, I am not giving trade advice. I'm not saying this is a trade. This is an idea, and it represents an idea more than a specific trade. I would never ride this to expiration. Like just trading, like I would get out with a profit target, and we'll look at that tomorrow. We're going to build on this idea this week. So, yeah, the last 6 loss, that certainly is true. So if you're going to try to ride a 15-day butterfly to expiration, be prepared for a lot of losers depending on how it goes. But not worried about that. Because I would never trade that. It's more just the structure of the idea. If it makes sense.
Yeah, and Troy, I mean, we do some 15 to 22 to 30-day butterflies, and I think again, I'd recommend testing anything, but generally, based on the VIX. Because when you think about one of the uses of the VIX, wouldn't you agree, Troy, is if VIX is 14, 15, it's telling you something, right? It's saying there's many more up days than down days, right? You can say at VIX 14 or 15, we're going to tank. Okay, you can say that. But the reality is VIX 14 or 15, you're getting quite a few more up days. We're probably trending up. Whereas if you say VIX is 18 to 20, we're getting some down action. Right? So in terms of reality, right? And I think with these butterflies, sometimes I like to tweak whether you be balanced or broken wing. Balanced butterflies in general are going to be short delta. So if you do an at the money balanced butterfly, whether it be 15, 22 days or 31 days, if we go down 250 points, you're in the backyard playing with the tulips. I mean, it's fine. There's not a balanced butterfly can handle the downside, but that would be more, but you're leaning, 1.5 to 2.5 delta short per contract. So you have to pick your spots, right? And if you're doing that in a 14, 15 volatility environment, probably not going to work out real well, right? Because the market's going up more. Whereas a balanced butterfly, or excuse me, an unbalanced butterfly, more broken wing, that can be more conducive at times to the upside, right? So I think again, test them, but I think butterflies is something that we tweak more in terms of balanced or unbalanced versus calendars. There's not a whole lot well, I guess calendars you can do things, but butterflies can be very tweakable there.
Yeah, I just realized also I had uses that DTE on that. So just to show the idea, you wouldn't just only do 15-day. It's kind of around 15 days, and so that adds a couple more trades and a couple more wins. So it doesn't matter for this, but I get you're still going to lose a bunch of times in a row at the end. But Dan, I like this idea of playing with this because again, I think this is something that people should at least have in their toolbox. And of course, knowing when to do this versus other things is always the wisdom of it. But having a bunch of tools in your toolbox is a helpful part of life.
Troy, I would like to see if we could maybe the chat and ourselves, maybe if we had time tomorrow to take this test, and how can we improve it? You brought.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You brought a good foundational tool, and what would the chat and what would come up with some ideas on how to make this, what are some ways to make this better and start it. I think that'd be a good one to work on this week because you know what, the way we're going to open up today, it looks like in the ES, not open up, but I mean how the market's going to open, we're going to be in the middle of this range, right? The 6,800 to 7, SPX isn't going to be that far from 6,900. We're going to have sticky volatility at 20. The same thing as we had last week, this kind of range bound sticky volatility. And then kind of like the last 3 weeks, Troy, will have the end of the week is going to, your Thursday, Friday, which you guys always say Thursdays, is going to be, not that we can't move before that, Iran, not that we can't move before that, but Thursday is going to be, NVIDIA's earnings are coming out Wednesday evening. And again, I don't think NVIDIA's necessarily like the NVIDIA of old. There's other things going, other stocks or whatever, but NVIDIA is Wednesday night, so that'll hit Thursday. So Thursday could be some catalysts with that. And then Friday's PPI. And so I think, kind of similar to last week, unless we bust through the 6,800 somewhere around there in SPX or 7,000, it doesn't look it. But again, I think this is a great concept, the back test you brought, that we can work with this. I think it's, something to go. Any final words, Troy, on the whole?
Well, just to show people again one more time what we're dealing with, and for this week, we'll look at it and then we'll try to improve on it tomorrow. We'll look at Ironfly versions, take what you guys put into it, and just to see if we can build out some range-bound strategies that look good through time. Let me show you real quick the test one more time just so you have an idea of it, and that way we can go from there. So, oh, crap.
You did it again.
Dan, it just has a way of just kind of dominating whatever space it's in.
It's just a mistake.
Yeah. Anyway, well, on that note, guys.
Hey, Troy, one last thing. On the 11 o'clock, at least I'm thinking, starting out the week on the beginners, I'm thinking with Troy to explore a little bit, what are some 0-day trades that if someone's a beginner that they could do? I'm kind of defining by that beginner do on a 0-day trade where he's not spending much more than $250 or total risk, right? And because you say, Dan, one aspect could be, well, why would you put a beginner in 0-day right off the bat? For me, the repetition, right? Instead, your repetition. But how do you keep him from nailing himself too bad? And the answer is keep the trade. So we're going to go over, I've got maybe 3 ideas and I'll go over with Troy, and we can explore what are the cheapest dollar amounts in terms of capital invested that you can play. And then we can maybe, test them, but I think continuing that test tomorrow. The only thing I wanted to see, Troy, is you could have put that flag and then have a little Lee Greenwood in the background. Proud to be.
It'd be too much. It'd be too much. we would be approaching a level of trolling that would be uncomfortable. So, but on that note, guys, listen, have a great trading day. We'll be back at 11 and we'll have more stuff. And so, yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
Hey.
Bye-bye.
All right.